Hey everybody, it's Rich from BilletSPIN. You are looking at our next top. It's called the Jester, and we're going to get into why it's called that in a little bit. This top is going to be available on February 19th, www.billetspin.com at noon central for $75 plus shipping. We have stainless steel, bronze, and copper. Now, this is not a typical top from BilletSPIN where it's a one and done. This top will be released in the future. It's going to be released in different sizes, different types of material, different amount of clearances. We're going to have a lot of fun with this top. And hence, that's why it's called the Jester, because my one goal in setting out to design this top was to make it fun. Affordable, too. So this is definitely towards the bottom end of the spectrum as far as price go. Let's get right into the design of this thing. The first thing you're going to notice is, holy cow, that has a ton of clearance. Some of you who are been around the top world, you're going to look at that and you're going to gasp a little bit, because some of you are not fond of high CG tops. If you're that person, don't click off. Keep watching, because this is not a high CG top, and I'm going to explain to you why that is. But that's one of the biggest differences. In fact, I've never made a top with this much clearance other than the Loki. So I wanted to make it something that was fun, something different, something we haven't seen from BilletSPIN, and I think we've accomplished that. You can see there's a massive amount of material eaten away at the inside of this thing. So all you've got are those three spokes. Now, we did extensive strength testing on those three spokes to get those spokes as thick as they need to be able to take just an obscene amount of everyday carry abuse. And I think we've very much succeeded in that. You can see the stem. Another thing that you won't see much done by me is the hollow stem. And that hollow stem, the hole goes down right into the front side over here. Gives us plenty of strength, but removes a ton of weight, okay? So, yeah, it's different. We'll get into the grip here in a little bit. But let's talk about the CG. So what is CG? Center of gravity moving from the ball forward. The higher it is this direction, the harder it is for a top to stabilize. And what does that mean? It means when you first launch it, a top might be doing this, which is hula hooping or huluing. And it takes longer for a high CG top to stabilize to find its middle like this, okay? The second thing that it does is it makes it so that it tips over at a faster, when it's still spinning quite fast. So a lower CG top, because the CG is down here, it doesn't want to tip over as easy, and therefore it'll go longer because it won't tip over until it gets to slower RPM. So there's the advantage of that. So you're saying to yourself, well, gee, Rich, that looks like a high CG top to me. This top is 1.23 inches, which is a very standard size. I'd like to compare this to a matrix, and what you're going to see right out of the chute here is that the thickness of the collar is really thin. It's very thin, one of the thinnest, if not the thinnest, when it comes to our 1.25" tops. So if you go ball, put them in line, you can see that the middle of the matrix is about the same as the middle of the Jester. So now it's starting to become clear why this is not a high CG top. The next thing you have to see is all this weight in the stem, which raises the CG, right? I want you to look at the thicker part of the ball portion here and how thick that is. And then I want you to look at the Jester and see how this is all eaten away. Every part of this is smaller than this, and it's got a hole in it. So there is next to no weight whatsoever. Now in the grip, the hole is quite large, and the milling for the grip is actually eaten in there so much that it's close to breaking through the grip. But I used a triangle pattern, so each one of these is a V, which makes a triangle on the male portions of the grip, and that triangle gives this grip tremendous amounts of strength. So you don't have to worry about bending it or breaking it. There's an enormous amount of stress here. Strength there. And so, but that hole goes down really, really deep. It gets the CG much lower. So what I'm saying is that the CG of the Jester is actually substantially lower than the CG of the Matrix, but you still have that huge amount of clearance. Now, the other thing it is that we've eaten out so much weight on the inside and put it all on the outside, it has the effect spinning like a gyroscope. So it's got totally unique spin properties. Now, what I wanted was this top to be able to be spun by, the seasoned top enthusiast all the way down to somebody new that you've got coming over to your house that maybe doesn't understand the top hobby and you want them to have a top to spin, this is the one, because low clearance tops are just harder to spin without catching the edge. This top is super easy. Now I got a camera and gloves here. That was a horrible spin. Horrible spin. I'm going to actually take off my glove here because it's really hard to do that with the glove. That spin would have stabilized. Okay, so there's a no glove spin there. So you can see what I want you to notice when I talk about the difference in like spin attributes with having that center all carved out. Look at how it's moving right now. It's moving much slower laterally than a normal top. Now to put that in comparison, let's spin the matrix. Okay, so you see how fast that spins? That was a garbage spin. So you see how fast it moves around? And when you compare that to the Jester, it moves much slower. And that slowness is going to really allow this top to stabilize extremely fast. Now, if you wanted to, see if I can do it, if you wanted to launch it really crooked like this, you probably can. So if you want to do that, because of the amount of clearance, you actually can do it on purpose. And it will stabilize. Even that spin there with how crooked that is, it will stabilize. But if you look at even that, look at how slow it's rotating compared to a normal top. So that was kind of the goal with the Jester, just to make a super, super fun top, crazy easy to spin, and yeah, just a really fun top to enjoy. Now we have the 3 different options. Let's get some weights on these things for you. So let's start out with the stainless steel. The stainless steel is 29 grams. Okay, 29 grams. That's light. When you talk about 1¼ tops, here, we'll compare the copper version of the Jester compared to the Matrix. So the copper version is 33 grams. Okay, and now we'll compare the Matrix. 57 grams. Huge amounts of differences. Just a major difference in weight there. Let's get on to the bronze. 29 grams, just like the stainless. So this top is light. It's very, very light. Now, for those of you that just want the funnest version, go with the stainless, go with the bronze. You can carry them in your pocket. You can beat the crap out of them. It's just a fun, fun top. This top, because it is a little bit heavier, it's still super easy to spin. This is going to be for people who want a little bit longer spin. It's not going to be as durable as the stainless and bronze. Going to give you a little bit longer spin. Just, I don't know how else to put it other than this top is not as fun as this top. This top is just a blast to spin. I don't know how else I can say it. It's just fun. So anyways, there you have the 3 of them, the Jester. Now, as far as future combinations, I don't know for sure what I'm going to do, but the next thing I'm going to try to do, which will be available probably in about a month from now, is I'm going to try making a smaller version that's actually tungsten copper. And it's going to be probably about 1.1 inches in diameter. The thing I will tell you about that top is it's going to wobble. I'm going to make it, and I'm going to tell you right now that it's going to wobble, whereas these are going to be smooth spinners. So just so you know that's coming. And then I might do, here's the prototype that this whole thing started out as. This is a 980 diameter, so I'll call it a 1-inch top. And I might do this size, or I might make these in the 1.1. And then I might go with lower clearance on the smaller one. I'm not sure. We'll just kind of have to see how it goes. I think that what would be really neat about varying the different ratios on these is for you as collectors to get to see, well, what is the exact top, only with less clearance? What does that actually do? Here's what I'm going to tell you about that. This top in the prototype stage of the 1¼ we had a very low clearance, like a standard clearance, and it added about 30 seconds of spin time. The stainless steel top on my first spin got 7.5 minutes. And with the low clearance top, it was just under 8 minutes. only 30 seconds. That's all that it was. So for 30 seconds, I want that extra high clearance on there. Now, if the spin difference would have been 2 minutes, that would have been something. But because this is a lower CG top, due to the design, we were able to get away with that. I hope that answers some of your questions. We're going to have some fun with this. If you have suggestions for a variation that you'd like to see in the Jester, let me know. But this will be repeated. These 3 might be made available 6 months from now. This is not a one and done. I'm going to try to make this more of a stock item on the website. So the other thing is, I don't think I talked about it, we got a little light polishing on the outside. Some grooving and some light polishing there. So, and that is on all 3 of them. The copper, the bronze, and the stainless. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you guys have a great day. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to check them out and get back to you. You guys have a great week.